What is going on, my Houston Texans family? We are 24 hours away from mandatory minicamp. But before we get to that, we have some breaking news, some early breaking news, because it was tweeted 2 hours ago by Ian Rappaport that the Houston Texans are bringing in free agent running back Nick Chubb on a one-year deal. Now, we were having this conversation yesterday because it was reported by Dan Rossini and Ian Rappaport that the Texans had interest in bringing in Nick Chubb. The only thing that needed to get done was a physical. Well, it got done. It sounds like it went well because Nick Chubb is a Houston Texans. I love this move for Houston. You guys let me know your thoughts and comments below. But I felt like the Texans needed something more in the running back room. And I hope, matter of fact, I believe they got that with Nick Chubb. I've been a fan of Nick Chubb since Georgia. I mean, every single year that I was able to draft him in fantasy football, I did. Now, it's no question that he is here to join Joe Mixon, be the running back too. The main question surrounding Nick Chubb right now, does he have anything left after the past 2 years of injuries? What is Nick Chubb? With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about this signing. I absolutely love it. My name is Ruben Calvillo. This is the 713 Houston Sportcast, where I drop daily Houston Texans content. So please make sure you guys are following me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok for the latest Houston Texans news, rumors, and updates. Well, guys, it doesn't sound like the Texans were the only ones bidding for Nick Chubb. I want to bring up Dan Rossini's tweet once again from yesterday. Chubb received more lucrative offers from other teams, but could sign a more incentive-laden contract to join Joe Mixon in Houston's backfield. I wonder who else was in the running for Nick Chubb. I'm pretty sure the Cowboys might have been also, because they desperately need themselves a running back. But this is not the first time we've seen a free agent take less money to come to the city of Houston. And I'm pretty sure there were other teams that were like, hey, you could be RB1 here. I'm pretty sure there were teams that were offering Nick Chubb RB1 opportunities, but he chose to come to the H. Here's another tweet from Ian Rappaport that was yesterday. The Browns had discussions with Nick Chubb prior to the draft, but the two sides could not agree on a deal. Cleveland turned to the draft, and Houston set its eyes on Chubb. Assuming all goes well on Monday, he should land with the Texans to join Joe Mixon. It all went well. I would expect Nick Chubb to be there tomorrow in mandatory minicamp. Now, want to bring up the stats once again. I want to bring up the history of Nick Chubb because we have to talk about it. But first, Cleveland Brown fans, thank you so much, because it seems like anytime the Houston Texans need something, you guys are there to give it to us. Remember when the Houston Texans made the trade for Deshaun Watson? Who was involved in that trade? The Cleveland Browns. Remember when the Houston Texans traded away Brock Osweiler? Who did they trade him to? The Cleveland Browns. Right? Who did they trade Deshaun Watson to? The Cleveland Browns. And we all know how that trade turned out for the Houston Texans. Oh, my God. Houston keeps on screwing over Cleveland. But let's first talk about the injury history for Nick Chubb, because this is where all the concerns are coming. He broke his foot last year and only appeared in 8 games. The year before that, like I mentioned earlier, a big knee injury that ended his season early. Before that, he was a 4-time straight Pro Bowler, one of the best running backs in the NFL. I want to read you guys a quote from Nick Chubb in regards to his current state. Obviously, life has thrown 2 major injuries at me now. Were there dark days? Oh, yes. Listen, I'm 28 years old. What's that in running back years these days? 57. I know the business. I saw the rumors. Maybe they'll just cut Chubb. Man, they should cut Chubb. Matter of fact, they'll be stupid not to cut him. It's a cold world. I get it. The only thing that I couldn't control was the work. As soon as I got out of my brace and got back on my feet, I was back in the gym. I'm not a guy who likes fancy trainers and gyms that look like clubs or whatever. I always go back to where it started, the Cedartown High Weight Room. Membership is cheap. They got a water fountain. Talking about his high school, and speaking of that, I think it was a TikTok last week of Nick Chubb squatting 510 pounds. I think the year before that he was squatting 600. Work ethic is what you get from Nick Chubb. Locker room guy is what you get from Nick Chubb, which was why he was so loved in Cleveland. I believe he's their third all-time rusher behind Jim Brown and another Hall of Fame running back. Now, the question is how many opportunities is Nick Chubb going to get? Because when you also look at Joe Mixon, it's reported he's in a walking boot. He's coming off of a 1,000-yard season, double-digit touchdowns. He didn't play a full 17 games. There could be opportunities where Nick Chubb is starting for you, ladies and gentlemen, which is why I'm glad they made the move. I love Dameon Pierce. Don't get me wrong. Go country boy, go. But I already have more confidence in Nick Chubb being my starting back in a need-to situation than Dameon Pierce. Be a kick returner, DP. He's had good moments the past 2 years at kick returner. I believe he has 2 kick return touchdowns in the last 2 seasons. Nick Chubb has an opportunity this year, guys. I will say that. An opportunity to prove everyone wrong. But I love this move for the Houston Texans. And if he gets back to 80, 85, 90% of what he was, the Houston Texans got themselves an absolute steal. Physical running backs is what we got. Joe Mixon, physical. Nick Chubb, physical. You got a new offensive coordinator, a new offensive line. This is an entirely new offense, and I cannot wait to see how it plays out, ladies and gentlemen. But once again, it was reported early this morning by Ian Rappaport that the Texans are, in fact, bringing in Nick Chubb on a 1-year deal. For more Houston Texans content, you guys know what to do. Feel free and follow me for more. Go Houston. You guys have a very, very blessed day.